yesterday, and it became very clear very quickly that they had #goals. First, new GM Koby Altman and owner Dan Gilbert wanted to reassure fans about the direction of the franchise over and over again.
It's unfortunate sort of the narrative that's going on right now, you know, in terms of where we're at. This thing is not broken. We are a very successful organization, and we're going to continue to drive for that success.
I do feel as strong as I've ever felt about a team. I think these guys have killed it in the last not 21, it's more than that now, 5 to 6 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks. And I think they'll continue to kill it.
We've done a lot of things to not only stay competitive, but incremental steps to get better.
Gilbert carried this through his whole presser. You know, it's normal not to retain a single GM the entire time you've been owner. It's no big deal, people, when you woo a team president and he turns you down. Basically, there was a lot of this. You know, this is fine. Everything is fine. Totally fine. Of course, the truth is, as always, somewhere in the middle. Koby is absolutely right in saying the Cavaliers are not broken. I can name a half-dozen teams that would kill for the kind of problems Cleveland is having this summer. And no, the Cavaliers situation is not irreparable either. But it's not exactly a field of flowers here. The team's second-best player has asked for a trade, and according to Jason Lloyd of The Athletic, he's not even answering the organization's phone calls anymore. Oh, and he made this request at the worst possible time for the Cavs, right after many of the players they could have dealt him for have been traded or committed elsewhere. Now, we should note that during yesterday's news conference, neither Gilbert nor Altman officially acknowledged the Kyrie situation. Instead, they used phrases like, "It's fluid," and "We've discussed several scenarios." Gilbert even went as far as to say that as of right now, he'd expect Kyrie to be at training camp, which of course is as much spin as the rest of it, but at least that's a very smart spin. Cleveland cannot let itself get backed into making a move with Kyrie here. LeBron James has a no-trade clause, which makes Kyrie the team's most valuable trade asset. If the perception is the Cavs have to move him because so much damage has been done, their bargaining position weakens, they won't get as much for him. Cleveland needs to convince everyone, including Kyrie and his agent, that they will only make a deal if a great one comes along. Because the truth is actually that they don't need to trade him, as we have noted several times on this show, and Gilbert noted from the podium yesterday. Kobe Bryant demanded a trade in 2007, and it never happened. In fact, he went on to win more championships in a Lakers jersey. And this is where the Cavaliers front office will be tested in the coming weeks, where we'll get to see if, in fact, everything is fine in Cleveland. Will they be able to make a smart deal for Kyrie, or will they panic? Will they work behind the scenes to repair the relationship between Kai and LeBron, or will they bungle it? Because the hard truth is this: you cannot reset a team's narrative from the podium. Things aren't good just because you say they are, but you can go out and make them that way. And Scottie, you've always been very open talking about your relationship with Michael Jordan, those feelings you had knowing there was someone else who the organization was catered around, and how that changed over time, too, when he left and came back and then left and came back. How do you see the whole Kyrie situation?
Well, it's tough. I mean, I think from his standpoint is he wants to be comfortable. He wants to be in a situation where he feels that his superstar player, LeBron James, is going to be there. And I don't think LeBron is giving him that superior confidence that he needs to feel like that he can buy into that organization. And secondly, I think it was what Dan Gilbert said. You know, he probably found out that he was on the trading block during the playoffs, during the run. And when those things start to play into a player's mind, then you tend to want to turn the other way. And I think this is a situation that we're seeing here with Kyrie is that he's kind of burned out of it. I mean, look, LeBron left him when he came into the league. So to allow him to do that to him again, it would probably be a shame on me. Well, so he's trying to pull the trigger on the Cavs.
What kept you from feeling that need of sort of, oh, I'm frustrated with the situation, everything's catered around Michael? What were the things that made it okay for you?
I think as a player, you feel that way no matter what. And I can't say that I didn't feel that way, but I felt like that I took winning over my own personal goals at that time. And, you know, every player wants to be a star. Every player wants to be the man on his team. Every player wants to take the last shot at the end of the game. I mean, that's what you live for as a player. But at the end of the day, what mattered most to me was to win and really to bond my relationship more with Michael than to try to break away from him. I mean, Michael Jordan is the greatest player to ever play the game, so who wouldn't want to embrace that relationship?
But don't you think that the landscape was completely different back? There was hardly any player movement, Scottie. There was a completely different way that players went about their business. I mean, I wonder, and I know this is a hard question, but in today's world, would it have been the same for you?
No, it wouldn't have. And I would have had the mindset that the guys in today's game have. And these guys in today's game are they're more focused on their personal business around the game. And I think it's smart. I can't knock them for that. Hearing Kyrie want to go play in New York, that's big for his business. It's big for his on branding. And if LeBron is going to keep fiddling with him and the Cavs are going to keep talking about trading him, then he wants to go somewhere that he can be strong and build his brand strong and hopefully turn the Knicks into a winning situation. I mean, look at the bright side. There's only one way for the Knicks
It's a risk
to go.
reward, though. It's a risk reward. Because if he leaves LeBron and is not successful, it could be more damaging to his brand than just about anything else. If he's viewed as a guy who needs LeBron and that he gets heckled everywhere he goes and needs LeBron. But you're right, Scottie. If he goes to New York and carries the Knicks to a playoff situation, it's probably worth more to him than another championship would be. But boy, has he put himself in a tough spot with this. His window of, although he can declare success, is going to be tight. He can execute it. And he obviously believes he can execute it, or he wouldn't have set these events in motion. But he is going to find himself in a situation where what he can declare as victory is going to be a narrowing set of options, especially if he goes to a team that is not strong. Well, and he has to stand on his own.
That's the thing, is it's unlikely that he does go to New York, right? Because he doesn't control this. He doesn't have a no-trade clause. He can give a list, but the Cavs don't have to listen to it. So the Cavs are going to make the best deal to get back the pieces for them. That is not likely to be with the New York Knicks. And then all of a sudden, he could end up in no man's land somewhere.
You know what I thought was interesting, and I just found this other day, that right now, Kyrie Irving has the #1 Nike shoe. #1.
Other than Jordan.
Well, other than Jordan.
Well, we're talking current player, Brian. Come on.
Exactly.
But that's pretty significant.
Yes, he's
so in terms of
popular.
the brand, his brand is doing pretty well right where he is.
He's extremely popular.
Yeah,
and I think
he
it's
is.
so
It's doing great in a small market, but imagine what he could do in a market like New York.
But there's a couple layers here. We have the surface layer, which we all can see. Now let's talk about the lower layer. Kyrie, we can go into it.
Sorry,
Kyrie let it be known the 4 teams that he wants to go to, okay? So that's Kyrie sort of operating, right? Now, what the Cavs were doing yesterday, as you mentioned, was operating back.
Well,
because
of course,
what they were saying,
that was the thing they were doing.
tugging, trying to tug the leverage back. Because Kyrie can exert leverage because he can say, I'm not going to re-sign with you, which can kill his market and force him to one of those 4 teams.
But I'm going to keep going back that they don't have to trade him.
That's
if Kyrie goes out,
but they want to trade him.
But if Kyrie goes out and says, I'm only playing for one of these 4 teams, let me make it known I'm not going to sign with you, my answer, if I'm the Cavaliers, is, oh, okay, fine, we won't deal you.
That was yesterday's. That was.
I mean, there's no...
Because they can't get Kyrie on the phone right now? That was their message to Kyrie yesterday.
This was the messaging, and I mean, look.
But you know how this goes, though. You know how this goes, because we've seen it before. Kobe, that was different. I still see that was different. That was a beef with management. This is a split among players. Those trades tend to happen.
I don't know. We had Richard Jefferson come out 2 days ago and said it was about management.
I don't know. We have a triangle.
There's
here.
a lot there.
Typically, in the player ownership management situation, there's 2 sides.
Always.
Because of LeBron here, we now have 3 sides.
Right.
And this is not something we've seen before.
Ever.
You're right, Scottie, that based on the way it was back when in this type of situation is different from today. But even from what happened with Paul George to what happened with LeBron, or with LeBron, Kyrie, and the Cavs is completely different.
Right. No, and I mean, there's no question that this could go a lot of ways. When I sit there and say it's on the Cavs to see what they do next, this is not done. The story is not written. These guys could be put in a room and they could make up. There could be a blockbuster trade that helps the Cavs. There could be a disaster trade. And we go back and look at this and say, wow, the Cavs really screwed this up. They had 3 straight finals runs and it all fell
Good
apart.
luck, Kobe.
So,
Dan Gilbert is not going to screw this up.
Well,
Kobe Altman handled himself very well.
He
yesterday.
did, absolutely. And that is the beginning of the narrative change, but you've got to actually change the narrative. You can't just say it's changed. And the other interesting